now listening to the greatest.
Hey, you know JayRay got girls here going way, 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 way.
What's good, people? We got Bean in the building for this episode.
Hello.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, Bean was on a previous episode before, but I kind of messed that up.
A previous 2 episodes, but it's fine.
We did 2 episodes?
We did 2.
Oh, the first one I definitely didn't like. Yeah, I remember that. That was the one we were talking about black kids in movies and stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't articulate myself well, so I probably did delete that one.
I was great though.
And then the second one, I just deleted the audio back accident. Still had the video, but I deleted the audio. So I just, yeah. And that one we were talking about slap ass. So, yeah. This is Bean, a.k.a. Imani Spence.
Hello.
She is a art major here at Piedmont University. She wants to make cartoons for the rest of her life.
So something like that. something like that.
Sketch cartoons. Before we get started, I am interested though. I was thinking about this when we were talking earlier. Mm-hmm. What genre, what type of music do you listen to?
Lots of R&B and pop, and just old school.
All right, give me 5 artists.
I
always wonder, I don't know what you always have on headphones, but I'd be wondering what you listen to.
You always have on headphones. I don't. Okay, here's the thing. I don't have consistent things. The only thing that's really consistent is the old school music.
Okay.
Like your Boyz II Men, your New Edition, that sort of stuff. I can always listen to Candy Rain and have a good time, even though did they I know they had a whole album, but we only really talk about that one song, and I think that's really funny. But in general, my music kind of cycles through, so I might be listening to these set of songs for the next 6 months, and then it'll slowly phase out, and I'm I'm bored now, but I keep listening until I just find new things. And so I just stick to the same songs. I was going through a whole Jasmine Sullivan phase last semester.
Okay.
With her new music, and I was oh, okay.
I was just about to ask you, what do you feel about the new R&B verses though? Old R&B.
Or I'm loving Coco Jones.
Okay.
We love Coco. I love her.
You probably didn't even like her until you realized she was from Disney.
No. I loved her from Disney, but then when she came back and I saw her on the Twelve Show, I was like, oh, I love you. You're wonderful.
Yeah, she's dope.
I love her vibes.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, if I had to pick a celebrity to date, probably be her.
She's a vibe.
Yeah.
She's a vibe.
She's a little tall though.
I don't know. I have a mix. I have 1 or 2 Sabrina Carpenter songs that I like. I'm going through my brain of who do I listen to? I don't know.
You don't like Sexy Red?
I don't even know who that is. That's embarrassing for me. That's embarrassing. But I don't know.
Hold on, wait. Wait, I got you. Hold on. Wait. I hope I don't get copyrighted. I gotta play 30 seconds of this. Hold on, wait. I ain't even gonna connect it to the Bluetooth. It'll take too long. You didn't even let her play all the way yet. You was bobbing to it, and then when she started talking.
See here, I can catch a beat. I can catch a beat from any song, but it's not my vibe. I need music that speaks to my soul. Will it put me in my feelings? Probably. If I don't want something that's
gonna. So you listen to Drake?
Not even that.
He don't put you in your feelings?
No, not really. I don't know. No, not mine.
Not mine.
No. Wow. The Black Synth's coming out. I don't know. I'm way more on the R&B side of things. Way more.
Yeah.
I was love Usher, Neo. I try not to listen to Chris, but also
because he beats women.
But also his music's really
Why
good.
didn't you listen to Chris? Because he.
Yes, but I'm also
he actually. Dang, I should have brought that. I saw something on TikTok where he I don't know if it's recent. I think it looks like it was recent because I've never seen it. And he talked about that incident. And he was actually he took accountability, but he was also explaining how it went both ways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know that. I didn't even know Rihanna used to lash
I think there were other circumstances with him too. And I'm just
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, some girl always say, she always bring that up. She'd be like, he beat people. I'd be like, oh, so Rihanna wasn't the only one.
Well, I don't know.
Incident.
I don't know if it was just. I don't know. I know she's the biggest one.
Yeah,
but I know she's the one that kind of toppled his career for a bit, but like, and like ruined his reputation. But I think I try not to listen to him, but like also, like I might listen to like his old
young love,
or like Say Goodbye. I was wildin' back in the day. I think I sent the song Say Goodbye by Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Right
time to say goodbye.
I sent that to someone to break up with them way back in the day. I was a child. It was horrible. Why are you judging me? I feel like you're too... I admit that I'm the problem, though.
That shit, that sounds so cringe.
I admit I'm the problem. I was like, this is how I feel, and I sent it to them, and then they listened to it. They're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean? What do I mean?
Because I think he was most definitely... Wasn't he... I don't even think he was talking about a girl. He was just talking about... he might have been talking about...
He was.
Oh. I don't know why I thought he was talking about... Because it was like... Wasn't that the last song on the album? So I thought he was just saying goodbye to us.
No, he said, listen to your heart. Girl, we should be apart.
Oh.
Yeah.
We gotta go. I said, baby. You never heard Sexy Red?
I've heard it. It's not my vibe. It's not my vibe. It's not my vibe.
Okay.
Like the closest thing, like if it has like a good beat, like What It Is by Doechii, that's like the biggest, that's like the closest I get in that direction.
What It Is by who?
By Doechii.
Let me see.
You know the song, the What It Is, ho? What's that song?
Oh, it's like that. All right, let's play it because I dropped. You said what?
What It Is. Yeah. That song.
Don't say. She got everything you want in a nice body, ass fat. Behind
I like her solo version better.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. That is the closest.
Wait. I thought that was. Why she sound like one of the whatchamacallit sisters? Who? The Bailey sisters. Don't she?
Chloe Bailey.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I be listening to. Just a lot of the same stuff for like months on end, and then I forget songs. I think I have like just certain things for certain points of my life. Whatever I'm going through, I'm just like, that's my group of songs now.
All right, let's get into what we was actually talking. The other stuff.
The other stuff.
Do you want to start off?
No, you got it.
Okay. How do you feel about the guy being charged, the Alabama riverboat worker being charged for basically getting jumped?
Is it because he was black?
I mean, obviously.
Because okay, let's be honest. Like, I know it was like, oh, because he hit someone that wasn't like directly involved, but at that point, he's just swinging a swing. Like, just swinging a swing at that point. You shouldn't be charged. Like, you don't know who's against you, who's got like, because everyone was just jumping in for real.
I mean, he was the victim. He was the main victim in the situation. For those who don't know, that Alabama brawl with the hat flying and the folding chairs. The guy that threw his hat up, he's basically being charged with assault. And from what I know, I haven't read this article, but I was watching The Breakfast Club and they were talking about how, and it was basically, you can call it a technicality, because obviously when he first got assaulted, it was two different guys, and then obviously there's clips out there that got many different people swimming out there, and random people jumping in, white and black, and I think he in defending himself in a pack of wild people, he ended up hitting somebody else that wasn't the initial attacker. So, initial attacker. Gosh, I talk like an Atlantean sometimes, But the initial attacker. So they trying to get him on a technicality. When all honesty, like, if I see two people and then four people and then six people, I'm hitting everybody. That's what I'm saying. But actually, like, I'm just hitting everybody.
No.
But yeah, that's what we. You don't got anything deeper than that? You usually go deep.
I mean, man, like, I feel like it's giving someone went and did a Karen energy like to the manager, like, well, he hit. I'm like, bro, like, and try to just basically like, let's get something out of this, so maybe we don't look as bad. They're gonna look bad regardless because you jumped an innocent man. And I mean, like, while the whole event sucks. No, did you hear the jokes about people being like, this is our new. This should be one of our national holidays.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, this is our new bat signal. This is our bat signal. The folding chairs, make it a national holiday. I was like, that's crazy. The homie that swam, wild. Yeah. Out of pocket.
I mean, that's. Man, I wish we could unite like that. I wish we could.
Normally.
Yeah, just every day. I was about to make a joke and say back in the 1960s, but we probably would have all been killed. We would have been genocide. Yeah.
I mean, we did, just not like that.
Yeah, Nat Turner.
Just not violently.
And a couple other,
just not as violently.
A couple other ones.
Just not as violently.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it definitely is a conversation between like Black people. I think we only really come together, which is sad. We only really. Somebody dies or someone's like get hurt, like, and outside of that, we're kind of very individualistic in that regard of like everybody for themselves. You're like always thinking that like someone's gonna like hurt you or like whatever or like tell on you. And where that comes from, I'm not fully sure. I'm assuming that part of it might possibly stem from slavery and the slave system and how sometimes it could benefit us to work together, but then also people will step on you to get up higher positions of power. Not necessarily because they want to turn against you, but because
we're oppressed.
Yeah, we're oppressed. Like the higher up we go, the better. But like you're higher up in a corrupt system, and so therefore it's like, ugh.
To give her an example, because I can articulate myself today. I got a little nap. Okay, so
proud.
So basically, what you're saying is kind of like, let's say, two black men were applying to get a higher up position, and they were both trying to, I guess, go into an interview. Let's just say they're sitting in the room, versus two white guys where if one gets a job and one doesn't, another one gets a job based off his skin pigmentation and probably his background. Even though he didn't get this job, he's probably could go somewhere else and has a chance to get another job. Whereas not all, but most black people, we're always in a position where it's either make it or break it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always like that once in a lifetime opportunity. And like I said, like, not all, but for the most part,
you have to work a little bit harder to do all these like little things. Even from what I've heard in the animation industry, so which is an art field, so you wouldn't even necessarily like think that hard of like art, like why would they like care so much and like those sort of things are like you're just drawing pictures, you're not like your face isn't going to be on it or like anything like that, but you have to like still like might have to work harder, or like they may be like, oh, you're not what we're looking for in terms of skin color, or you might just be like the person that they go to whenever they need anything black. They'd be like, oh my god, like have you seen the movie Soul?
I haven't yet.
But you've heard of it, right? So, like, the movie Soul, the guy that worked on that, he was like, they were going to do this barbershop scene, and they were going to have these two black guys come up to each other. And the way that they were going to do it, he was like, absolutely not. He was like, we're in the meeting, and they're showing it. And I'm like, no. He's like, that's not how this works. Or they either A, will completely exclude you on, like, projects dealing with blackness, or they will do everything in their power to put all of that pressure on you to answer all the questions.
Speaking of that, how do you feel about, I don't know how much you keep up with the news and stuff, but on my radio show, Wake Up with JayRay and AB on Z98.7 FM, we talk a lot about Ron DeSantis. He's like he's the governor of Florida. And I remember when my first story about him was he was trying to, what was he trying to do? He was trying to, African American studies. He was trying to make it an elective instead of mandatory class. Yeah. And then it skipped to, I forgot, he did something else. But now, from what I've heard or seen is, and I don't know if this is Florida. I've totally forgot if this is Florida or worldwide. But I know some of this is worldwide. They're trying to take out certain parts of African American history through social studies. Like, damn it, I should have kept that paper. It was like, for example, it was like the Okachee something. But if it has something to deal with where they deem as, I guess, too violent or it isn't of an importance, either way, I think all history is important anyway. But How do you feel about that? Like, just it going from now, either trying to make our history basically like an elective now, and now it's like they're really trying to dictate what we can learn about our history.
Okay, obviously disgusting. Hate it. It's not giving. It reminds me of, I think, textbooks that were coming out of either Florida or Texas, where especially they'll talk about slavery, and they'll be like, basically make it sound like either we volunteered or like it was a communal thing that they worked with the slave owners to do, which, and they're trying to rewrite history, and I think it's kind of really gross and sick and showing of their hatred and go ahead.
Oh, sorry to cut you off, but
No,
I was about to ask, like, within that, do you think is a part of it? Like, I hear a lot of people say that they're guilty, like some of them feel guilty, and a part of doing this is more like they don't want this on their conscience or whatever, something like that, because some of these people that are in power that are making these trying to make these changes, their ancestors were the cause of this. So
that's a them problem.
Yeah.
That's what they got to deal with. Like, I'm like, I feel like you shouldn't feel guilty unless you are actively contributing to it. Other than that, like, if not, like, I don't necessarily think for example, all white people should feel guilty for like everything that's happening, because they're not necessarily contributing. But if you are contributing, or you possibly like did contribute at one point in your life, even if you did contribute at one point in your life, it's not necessarily means to feel guilty, but just like do better, be better. Like, don't try to avoid the problem and erase history to fix your feelings, because history is history and it is what it is regardless. So instead, I think you should fix you and fix how you feel and work on how you're dealing with those feelings within yourself and working to be a better person. And instead of feeling guilty, just trying to do better and make right as best as you can, rather than just trying to avoid it altogether. And not only avoid it for you, but avoid it for other people and stopping other people from learning their history. Especially people who might be in communities. Well, like, it's better now because we have the internet and people have phones and stuff like that, so it's easier to get access to it. However, there is just the caveat of, like, sometimes people just don't have nearly as much access to that sort of information. And if you're taking away access, not only just from, like, all kids, but even just black kids and, like, everyone just knowing their history, because even parents don't necessarily teach their kids about history. And that sort of thing as well, or like their own history. And like, if you don't go look it up, you just don't know. Like, if I've mentioned to people before, I'm like, do you know what the Black Panthers are? And they're like, oh yeah, Wakanda Forever. I'm like, no, no, we're talking 1960s Black Panthers. No, it's different. It's different. So that sort of stuff I think is very interesting, and like, we just don't get taught it in school, and it is like really sad. I was lucky enough to go to a mostly, like, between my elementary, middle, and high school was very, very black. So especially by the time I got to high school, most of my teachers were black. And so even if it wasn't in like the curriculum for them to teach, they would teach it. They'd be like, I'm just gonna let you know XYZ, and like, we do extra parts just because they were like, I want you to know. And I think that sort of stuff is important. And so if we start getting rid of this, I think it's gonna be at a loss, because we already have, this country has a history of not necessarily wanting to reckon like face to face with a lot of the history just outright. They always say like, oh yeah, like, for example, with like the Holocaust, they very clearly are like, yes, this was a horrible thing, and we very clearly see that, and like they get like reparations and like all this stuff for like the families and all, like, it is a very active thing. And I feel like minorities in this country like deserve that too. Like, I think black people, natives, like all of them, like, they deserve to like have all like the atrocities that have been done to them be put in the forefront. And
it's funny because y'all might as well get used to it, man. I'm gonna keep quoting from Spears and Steinberg podcast, and they were talking about similar. They weren't talking about this exactly, but they were talking about something dealing with race and the history of this country. And like I said, as much as people want to hate Eric Spears, when he makes some offensive jokes from a comedic standpoint. He doesn't have the intent to hurt people. A lot of stuff he says is real, man. I mean, I think one thing that hit me hard was he was saying, and I think this is why it correlates to this, because they were talking about how if you look back at the history of this country, the most violent people have been white people. And to your point, to every other ethnicity, whether it be Hispanic, blacks, Asians, Caucasian people had just been at the root of it. But it's crazy how nowadays, and even 400 years ago, we're seeing these beasts. We're seeing these brutal savages. Unless
we're doing music or dancing.
Yeah, exactly.
Or playing sports for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same with the Native Americans. I can't speak too much on the Asians. I got to look at the history, but yeah. And to correlate to this, I couldn't find the exact article. I wish I really could. But one of the things where, depending on how much violence or how graphic, I guess the story of the history of the curriculum or whatever it is. And so I'm like, well, damn, let's take out the Civil War. Let's take out all these other wars that y'all started.
We definitely learned about the French Revolution.
So the French Revolution, take that out of the curriculum. Take everything out.
Yeah. We learn so I think it's so like funny and like interesting in that regard. Like we learned about so many wars and so many other things that people did, and we're like, oh, okay, we can learn about that, but like we can't like dive deep into like slavery or like, oh my god, what are they called? The camps and like the churches and the schools that they put the natives in to basically like try to do like cultural genocide with them because they're like, yeah, let's send you these schools and then you'll turn you Catholic and you can't speak your language, and like many kids were like killed. It was sad. It was really sad. So many things along those lines where I'm just like, we can't teach that. Why don't we teach that? Why don't people know? Why don't people know all the ins and outs? And why do we, like most people, like, you know, your Rosa Parks, you know, your Martin, you might know Malcolm, but you might know W. Du Bois and like all of that, but you're not going to learn all of like the deeper stuff like that. Like, why do so many people not know about the Black Panthers? Why is that a thing? That's weird.
And that's one of the figures you should know. I feel like that's one of the main figures we learned when we were younger that you should know.
You should know.
I feel like, and I'm just now learning about, I think you're familiar with Professor Touch and Lily and E. Smith. Those are figures I think we need to bring to the forefront because we know about the Rosa Parks, Malcolm X's, Martin Luther King's, and those that don't know, yeah.
Wait.
I'm not surprised in this time of education system because they're trying to regulate how we learn our history, and I think as I get older and older, I'm starting to learn more why people say our African American history is important. Why it's important to us, especially to see how we came and to not necessarily go back towards that, but to understand that this country, it's almost like life isn't. It's almost like the life in this country isn't in our favor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, our ancestors fought for something, you know what I'm saying? And they achieved a lot through hard times, which we're still seeing. Like, it might not, like, I hate when people say, y'all not in slavery anymore, we're integrated. Well, it's still kind of, you know.
The system still stacked. Like, but to like individually, like we might be relatively okay. Yeah. But like the system as a whole is still not the vibe.
It still felt like it still pinpoints us. Like, if I have a white friend and we both got weed, I'm gonna get more time. That, like, little things like that. And damn, it lost my train of thought. I had a good point too. But anyway, yeah, I feel like that history is important. But to come back to Lily and E. Smith. You know, she was a for people who don't know, I'm gonna give you a little history lesson. She was a white activist who was in the South, and she was gay. And if you look her name up, nothing comes up but Piedmont University stuff. And it's like, why is nobody more aware of her? Because and I think you would find this too, because she wasn't just for diversity and integration. She part of her story is she used to work this camp that her father handed down to her. And one of the things she used to do was a girls' camp, all girls' camp. And she would teach him, I guess she would teach him how to ride, this, that, and the third. But the most important thing, she would teach him about life. They would have these meetings, I guess at some time and point in the day, but have these meetings every day. And all the girls would sit around in a circle. And these are girls that were all from around the world, other than African American, obviously, because it was still illegal. And they would sit around and they would have open conversations about anything. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was just big, even in that time, because I feel like that's one of the things this country is missing now today. Is we're not like this platform I'm trying to make now is we need to have these uncomfortable conversations.
We need to have safe spaces to have uncomfortable conversations.
And then maybe the world can actually become a better place if we come to some grounds with some of the issues we have. Like, I don't want to even say racism. I want to say maybe racial profiling, because racism I don't think can ever end unless you start like on some Thanos type. You don't know what Thanos is, do you?
I do.
Snap, and then erase start over, because racism I think starts from
top down.
Yeah, it starts from early age, and it's kind of like learned over time. Yeah, so maybe we could lessen the numbers, but I don't think ever. But like little things like racial, the atheist versus higher beings conversation, you know, the LGBTQ plus versus the homophobe, like just those types of conversations. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Being able to come in a room and sit down and be like, let's have this conversation, but also allowing everyone in the room to feel safe to be able to like ask questions. And I think because obviously some questions are like, they're gonna be like, and like nobody's really gonna want to answer, but at the same time, it's important to make them feel safe that yes, like you can answer and we're gonna answer and we're gonna have a conversation about it in a very non-judgmental way, and as long as like we're all coming to the space, because obviously if you're gonna be able to come to the space, that's a step in its own, because at least you're open and you're willing to even put yourself in that situation, rather than just being like, no, I'm gonna be stuck in my bubble and I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna feel these whatever. People always say I'm crazy because they're like, why do you get in such like passionate conversations with people you disagree with, or I don't share the same views or opinions with, and it's just because like I like having those conversations, and like even if it makes me very tired sometimes, I think it's interesting and like valuable for me to keep hearing other people's like viewpoints. Even if I don't personally agree with them, I will still like listen and hear you out and like ask you questions and just see where your brain is at. Yeah. And I think that's important, and to being able to have those safe spaces to be like, yeah, I can say this and that's okay. Like, don't come crazy, but like for example, if we're in a room in a, I don't know, like if it's in a white person's house, like I just really want to know why I can't say the N-word. Yeah, of course our initial reaction would be like, this man, oh my God. Yeah. But at the same time, we could have like a genuine conversation of like, this is what this is why this is important, like this is the reasoning behind it, and just be genuine in explaining and being more willing to educate than just being quick to judge. I think is important. Because I think the Black community especially, but like a lot of communities, I think, but especially the Black community, we can get very defensive because we've had so much taken away. So like when people ask us things like that, it's like, what do you mean? Like, like I'm like, you should know this by now. But we can get very defensive and get very passionate about that sort of stuff. And I mean, valid, but also we can't be defensive to the point where like we're not letting people in enough to like learn and understand. So yeah, I think there's a balance. There's a balance there. Because
I definitely used to be like that, and then I had to open my mind up, but also thinking of it as not always debating, but also just learning. Learning people, learning different viewpoints, learning different experiences. Especially in this day and age of relationships and religion and just things like that. That's why y'all saw me get so upset on the last episode and I realized I wasn't even upset. I was just more frustrated because I don't know if you watched it yet. Yeah, but Shioma, love you. But it was almost like she kept trying to force it on me. Whereas when I was talking and listening, I was actually, okay, I understand. Might not agree with this point, but I do see what you're getting to. And it was like everything I was saying was more like, oh, no, you're just, no, that's, nah, no, I know. And it was more like, are you actually listening, or are you just trying to argue?
Push your own narrative.
Push your own narrative versus what I'm trying to say. And that's why I realized I didn't even get upset. I just got frustrated. Because there was a couple of times I even tried to dead the conversation, and she just kept going and going and going. But I did learn a lot that day. I learned a lot that, well, I'm not going to get too deep in it, but it's because that's why I don't have those religion.
Maybe just not have those conversations with certain people.
But you never know who, because I didn't even know we would go down that road. I didn't know those.
The moment, like, I don't mind talking about religion with people. But most of the time, I just sit back and listen. I just be listening. Like, I might say my point, and I'm like, okay, and like I don't say too much. I'm just like, because if I can feel the vibes, I'm like I had a friend, and he had been getting really into religion, and we were talking, and he was asking me about my beliefs, and out of nowhere, he goes, he was like, I'm not going to judge you. I just kind of want to save you. And I was like, huh? I just let it keep going because I was like, so you're judging me. You're judging me regardless. Because if you feel like I need to be saved, there's obviously something going on here. But that was such like an out of pocket moment. I was just like, okay, so I know not to have this conversation with you again because this is not going to go well. Because if you just said that to me, it's not the vibes. It's not the vibes. Yeah. I don't have any problems with people who are like religious or have like different beliefs. My brain thought is like, I don't really care what you believe. Are you hurting people? Are you a nice person?
Yeah.
Are you a nice person? Like, are you a nice person? Are you not causing harm to other people? Cool. You're fine. You're great. Like, as long as you're not like causing harm or like spreading harmful rhetoric that'll cause harm to others, fine, totally fine. And you're not pushing your beliefs onto other people. And
I think that's why I don't like having that conversation, because there's certain people that will try to push it on me, and again, it's like that 50-50 with me where I don't give a F or what people think about me, but I also like it's. If I've known you for 5 years and I just now come out and tell you like, hey, I'm just not a religious person, and now you have this whole different perception of me just off that, versus the 5 years I've known you've been I've been in your circle, I've been around you for so long for a reason. Like you like the way I carry myself has some type of Christian value. I'm kind. I've never harmed you. These are things I've heard from my friends, and then I tell them or not just friends, but just people I tell I'm not religion, and they look at me like, oh my God. And now they see me in this different light, whereas I'm still the same Jared you knew before I told you I wasn't religion. So don't treat me any different now just because I'm not a religious person. And that's where like I get, and that I mean, I have to learn that I can't control that. Those are people that have to dissect it themselves.
Yeah, that's not on you. That's definitely on the other person. I mean, I've had that too. People be like, You're not religious, but you're so nice. And I was like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, like
what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
And I definitely feel that. I think judging someone immediately based on like, oh, you don't believe the same thing I believe is like kind of like I think people, you can just be a nice person. Like, I feel like you should just be a nice person regardless of what you believe. Like, just be a nice person. But I guess people, due to their beliefs, sometimes might have different versions of what being nice is, because sometimes I know for some people maybe this idea of saving people might be their way of being nice and showing love because they want the best for you and they want you to go to heaven, and so that is their way of being like, I'm helping you. But I guess it's a matter of like, you're pushing help on someone who's like doesn't like, I'm not asking for it, and then that's where that kind of thing kind of tussles a bit. So like I understand it, but I'm also like, no, just be a nice person and chill, and like we can chill, and I can find, and I'll listen, and I'm fine to listen if you want to like talk to me about religion. I'm a little wild. I think I had missionaries come up to me. I was in where was I? What is it called? Ponce. I was in Ponce City Market, and I was sitting there, and my boyfriend had left to go to the bathroom, and I got ran up on with these two girls who were, they were like, oh my God. And I was like, I complimented her. I was like, oh my God, I love your hair. You're so pretty. And then she was like, oh my God, hi. And then she just started talking to me, and she was like, can I tell you about, and I was like,
She a Jehovah's Witness?
I don't know. They were just selling me, and they're like, have you heard about blah 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 blah? And then they went on, and I let them sit there for 30 minutes and talk to me about the Bible and Christianity, and my boyfriend came back and he was like, what is happening? And they were like, do you want it? He was like, no. And I was like, and I gave her my number, and bro, like, I get so, like, sometimes I get, like, I'm like, I don't want to cause conflicts. We're just going to let this happen. But should I have just said no? Yeah. Because I listened for 30 minutes, but I was being nice, and I listened there for 30 minutes. Like, I heard her, and I was like, oh, okay, at least I learned something new. But I was also like, okay. Yeah. So I'm just like, you just ran up on me in a pond. I'm just eating my food, but it's fine. Yeah. But, yeah.
Just to piggyback off of what you said, like, I feel like I'm not a perfect human being, but I try to make the right decisions, especially when it comes to people. I try to make the best decisions for me. Sometimes that could be selfish, but I try to be a good person at heart too. Like with this, like certain decisions, just little things like, I don't know. I forgot now.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think people assume you can't be a nice person if you don't share the same thing. Yeah. They assume your whole morality is at fault.
I don't need a book or to believe in higher being to decipher what's right from wrong. And sometimes I feel like I'm too good to where sometimes it gives me not anxiety, but I when you're trying to make a decision between right and wrong, it's almost like you start overthinking, and then sometimes that, I don't want to say it gives you anxiety, but like it plays on my mental sometimes. Especially when it comes to other people, especially friendships and relationships. And I just feel like with that being said, I just know I'm not a terrible person. So, yeah.
If someone's going to judge and think my entire character has changed based on the fact that I don't believe something that they like, or I don't follow the same thing that they do, I'm not sure if I want to be friends with them. Only because I'm like, if you're that quick to change your opinion of me, because I'm like that, that's concerning. Yeah. Like for me, like that's concerning because that means you're just highly judging my entire character based on this one thing rather than everything else you may have seen from me, and that's just hurtful. That part. That's hurtful.
I was gonna say, because that's not even judging the character anymore. That's almost like forgetting who the character was. Yeah. Just looking at who one part. See. Yeah. So I think we'll end that one right there. Do you want to do the other two topics?
Oh, okay. So I have a question.
Wait. Is this going to go into another topic?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just do part 2. Okay. So we're just going to end this one, and then we're going to start the next one. Okay. So don't say bye to Bean yet. We'll be back on part 2 next week. You have any socials you want to?
No.
All right. If you're watching this, subscribe, man. We're almost to 100. Woo! I think we had 93. We was at 94, and then somebody pettily unsubscribed. So I don't know. Yeah, I noticed things like that.
Not pettily.
I think it had to be somebody I knew, bro.
Is pettily a word? It is today.
Yeah, it's today. But yeah, subscribe. If you're listening to this on audio, we're on YouTube. If you're listening through audio. No, if you're watching this on YouTube, we're on all audio platforms. Instagram, real.t.radio, TikTok, Real Talk Radio with an extra O on the end. And yeah, this is part 1 of the Happy African American History Month episode. Happy early. So we out.